All right. Iran today threatened an all-out war if the U.S. or Saudi Arabia launches military strikes against it. Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif told CNN that Tehran does not want war, stressing that Iran was not responsible for the attacks on Saudi oil refineries over the weekend. I make a very serious statement about defending our country. I am making a very serious statement that we don't want to engage in military confrontation, said Zarif. But we won't blink to defend our territory, he added. Tensions in the region have been high since two Saudi oil refineries were hit by drones and cruise missiles on Saturday, affecting roughly 5% of the global crude output. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia have put the blame on Iran for the strikes. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo yesterday declared the attacks an act of war by Iran. Tehran has denied those allegations, while Iranian-backed Houthi rebels in Yemen have claimed they're responsible for the attacks. I actually recorded myself reading the whole thing. I'm not going to do it again because that's tedious. But Zarif made a good point about how Iran, its government has denied culpability in the strikes, while the Houthi rebels have said they did it. And he also said they're not going to try to renegotiate with the U.S. for any kind of deal unless they have sanctions relief. And he made the point of saying, what's the point of us doing this when the situation can change and we'll have what we negotiated curtailed in a year and a half. And it reminded me of a Secular Talk video I had seen a while ago where Kyle was talking about how ridiculous it was, like from the world stage to have the U.S. pull out of these agreements they signed, because it basically means that our word is only good until there's a party change in the White House, and then, it just goes out the window. And that's pretty much what we've had with Trump. We've had the Paris Agreement get ripped up. We had the INF Treaty get ripped up. Obviously, the Iran deal. I mean, the list goes on. But this is something that I don't blame him for saying. And unfortunately, with U.S. foreign policy, whenever you're an American and you oppose what the U.S. is doing, you get labeled a terrorist, but are like abiding some terrorist group because they try to demonize the other country. But in all actuality, I'm simply saying that I'm looking at what Zarif is saying, which is we didn't do this and we don't want to have a conflict with the U.S. But if you strike us, you kind of see what you're going to get. And it's like, how do you even, if you're a peace-loving person and the U.S. wasn't struck by Iran, that's a fact, care about trying to get involved in a conflict with them. Like, I just don't understand how anyone who is supposedly anti-war is going to back this position. And in fact, a lot of them don't. We've just had the same neocons going around trying to screw with them. Trump's ousted National Security Advisor Bolton, the one that the media is over here trying to make sound like the greatest man that ever lived. I can pull up a clip of him right now where he was talking about the need or his belief that the U.S. would be celebrating after conducting a regime change in Iran by this year. So it's all lining up, even if he's no longer there. But it's really sad that we have these countries that we just decide to start screwing with, and then, he talks about Zarif, the casualties that will occur if we mess with them. That will happen, right? And it's like people really are going to have their lives thrown away over something that's entirely preventable. But this is the reason that the U.S.'s relationship with Saudi Arabia is so toxic, because we're supposed to be the country of democracy, and we're over here bootlicking for some region that, has none of that. And trying to take their side. You've got Trump pledging the troops to them. It's all dumb, and that's why I can't get mad at Iran for their position. They're in the right here. The U.S. is acting ridiculous.